Welcome, everybody, to the Inside Blue White podcast. Today's guest is the Vice President of Operations for Blue White. Please give a warm welcome to Patrick. Patrick, thank you for joining us and being on the podcast.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't wait to get started.
Patrick, I've admired your career, kind of knowing you for the past, 10 plus years, seeing you start off as, an engineer, right? And graduating up into a vice president company. So one of the first things I want to know is, how did you come across Blue White? Where did you, find the job posting or?
So it's kind of interesting that you bring this up. So I was a senior at Cal State Long Beach at the time. And I was working as a mechanical drafter at a company in Signal Hill, California. And that was an okay company. They basically designed stuff for vacuum chambers.
Okay.
And I was helping with that design. So it was me and another engineer from Cal State Long Beach. We knew each other. And I worked the days and he worked the nights. Now, the thing about that company is, it was very boring. You didn't get to do very unique things. You didn't get to test many things. As well as the culture there wasn't good. People, while friendly, if you talked to them one-on-one, kind of kept to themselves. They didn't intermingle with each other.
Okay.
The industry wasn't that interesting to me when I was in. So I just keep my eye out, trying to see if there's something else that I want to try.
Yeah.
Blue White was on the job board, whatever Cal State Long Beach job board it was. I can't remember what it's called today. But I found it. And I interviewed with our current president, Rob. He wasn't president at the time. I think he was vice president at the time. And so I interviewed with him. He asked me several questions. Somehow he ended up liking me. I don't know how that happened, but here I am still to this day. So that's cool. And that's how I found it. And the most funny part about this as we go forward is when he gave me the offer, I thought it was for a permanent position. Right, I'm thinking, cool, I have a cool engineering position.
Right,
this is going to keep going. Once I get out of college, I can keep doing this. So I'm about 3 months in, and he corners me in my old boss's office, and he says to me, "You know what? We like you, Patrick. We're going to keep you around." And it was at that moment I realized, this was an internship. This had an end date.
So you started off as an intern.
I actually was an intern, and I had no idea.
Oh my God.
So it worked out. Apparently, I did a good job during the internship, and that's the beginning of the story. I could keep going from there if you want. There's basically from there, I was working as a mechanical engineer. I helped work on several products that we use today, which is the MD3, the redesigned F300, the MS6, during that initial period.
Right. Yeah.
During that time. So I got to learn a lot because compared to my last job, you were stuck behind a desk. This one was more interactive. You get to be out on the floor, see how things are made, test things, go see where the product is used.
That's interesting. You speak about the company culture. How does our company culture differ from the company culture that you used to work at?
So our company culture is very interesting because it's more inviting, friendly. People want to help. They're curious, which is a big thing to me. They're very curious of learning more and introducing new ideas, even in their own processes. So it's different compared to where I was before, where people kept to themselves. They waited to be told to do anything or even try anything. And even when they wanted to try something, they were resistant and wouldn't even really invest their time into it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I kind of commend Rob and the leadership team because I feel like if you bring any sort of idea to the table, they'll almost let you run with it and just see where it goes. Whereas I think most companies would probably stop you right dead in your tracks, right?
Yeah, a lot of companies, they don't want you to try anything outside of the box. They're afraid to try something new. And it really slows things down and slows down innovation, if you want to put it that way, and creativity. It kind of stifles it, really, because you feel like you can't bring up anything.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience in manufacturing or engineering, but the got stopped in my tracks. I'm not even going to cut this. I'll just say that I've seen a lot of innovation in this company and growth since the time that I started here, and it's really crazy to see just the evolution of the production floor, changing the layouts, the way lean manufacturing, the way we're approaching manufacturing products. So I don't know where it's going with that, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate the evolution of the company. I think a lot of companies kind of get stuck in their roots and how they do things.
They
So-
do, yeah. I think one thing that I learned, pretty big lesson that I learned, is how involved everyone needs to be in a culture change. Rob was our president, was a very big pusher for culture. It means so much to him
Yeah.
to make sure we have culture. And he pushes it really hard. But it only works if we get more people involved. So that means leadership team gets involved and you foster that culture.
Yeah.
And then the next level gets involved. You foster that culture. And then all the way down to the people on the assembly line or even the janitor, they get introduced into this culture and they need to be fostered and nurtured to say that they also have a voice.
Right.
They also can be heard. If you have something that you want to see get addressed, we're here for you. Doors
Yeah.
open.
Even you speak of the janitors. Even I've seen the janitor's closet and how it's structured in a way where they embrace the lean pool system in the closet. So I think that's pretty cool. I've seen you in a management position in almost my whole career. So how do you approach being a leadership and building a team that I guess what I want to say is like respects you? Because I've seen a lot of people compliment the way you manage your team, and I've also seen maybe other managers not be as successful at managing their team. So I guess my question is, where do you get your leadership skills from, and how do you build your teams for success?
So first, let me say thank you. That was very flattering. I still think I'm trying to learn today
No,
and evolve today. But let me tell you, it's kind of a lot to go over there with that question. To start off with, I think it helps that I did some learning. I learned through some books how to be a great boss, Good to Great. But I also looked at people in the industry today and see how they do leadership. Like I watched some videos about Bob Iger and Howard Schultz from the CEO for Starbucks,
Right.
right? And I look at how they do their leadership styles. A lot of common threads between them are basically showing a vision. And Howard Schultz actually specifically says this, that people don't really want to be managed. They want to be part of something bigger. And that involves their leader showing them a vision, making sure that they know that they're a part of this vision, that we are going here together, and that we would like you to be a part of it, and we would like your input to get there. And that's, as simple as that may sound, it's kind of hard because you have to be able to communicate that effectively. And to communicate that, you can say like, oh, we're going to reach for this goal, but it may not effectively jive with what they're thinking. So somehow you have to be effective at communicating that vision at the same time. So they understand that they're part of this system, a part of this goal, a part of this vision. They're with us on it. So you have to know, and I deal with lots of different people. I deal with very technical people that are like engineers. I deal with people that deal with customers all day, like customer service people. They understand people's challenges or what they require. I deal with the assembly line people. They're very lean focused, a lot of improvement focus, a lot of making sure that they're being as efficient as possible. So somehow conforming that message so it jives and fits in with the way they're thinking.
Right.
So that's one way to try and get that leadership across. So I try not to overmanage, but I want to work with them, get them as part of this vision, and not micromanage them. So I give them that vision, I give them the tools they need to get there, and I work with them, but only to a little extent because I don't want to be a micromanager at the same time. So
Yeah, I don't think that's
there's a
effective.
fine line between the two.
Yeah.
So at the same time, they can solve their own problems. They don't come to me. But also, they have the tools that they need, and I give them input to make sure that we stay aligned to the vision at the same time. So that's one way to do it that I implement. A couple other things are actually having a lot of meetings and making sure that I understand what their wants are. What are they trying to achieve? How can I get them to the same goal, and how does that align with the company? Because I find that it's not just about coming to work and getting a job done. It's about the people.
Yeah.
People are so important. And to move forward and to lead them, I have to understand their wants at the same time. And it's weird, but a lot of the time it's not really like instructing people, but figuring out what their wants and giving them a path to get to success.
Some next level stuff.
Yeah. So I'm still learning today.
Yeah.
What I learned when I started is different than what I think now, especially because, when you first get started, you think a lot about there's good people and I got to get the best person and they're just going to come in here and magically fix things.
Right.
That's not how it works. You have to have good processes in place, good training in place, and a good vision in place to lead these people. And you have to help them get there. You don't just get to hire someone and walk away.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it speaks volume to your leadership skills because when I guess your previous role, you were managing just the, I don't want to say just, but the software department, the engineers on the hard side and the software side. But now with this bigger role of vice president of operations, you have, I don't even know exactly the reach, but I mean, the whole production floor, customer service. And so to see your management skills translate to all these different departments, it's really impressive.
Yeah, there's like many different team members from all sorts of different corners of the company that I help lead and manage to get along. And so a lot of the time is making sure that we're on the same page. So I deal with the engineering team, I deal with customer service, manufacturing, we have the quality department, and we have the supply chain. They all kind of intermingle. We're all one giant web of tentacles or whatever that go together.
Right.
But different personalities, different viewpoints, different priorities. And getting them to work together and seeing the vision together aligns them.
And having these different personalities, you have to tweak your, approach, right, to different.
There's little tweaks here or there, and it's just about understanding the audience, right?
Yeah.
A supply chain person's going to matter or care more about the inventory, let's say. First and foremost. The engineer wants to make sure there's a good design.
Yeah.
Right? Manufacturing wants something to be produced efficiently.
Yeah.
And then so you got to play this game like they have to understand and empathize with one another with what's going on to move forward.
I think that's one of your greatest strengths. I've approached you so many times when I was managing the flow meter department with problems all over the board, and you just always had a concise answer and a solution to that. So
yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you have to be quick and you have to try things and be decisive. So obviously don't just try random stuff.
Right.
But think about it and then let's move forward with the decision and try it out.
Yeah.
You don't want to stick in paralysis and not do anything.
Right.
You want to make sure that you create a clear path and decision for your team.
So I don't know if we want to go into depth about this, but what is one of your biggest challenges in your new role, and how would you approach that and tackle it?
So, I was a director of engineering. I had to work on a lot of new products that we design that are out there today. And now I'm the vice president of operations, so I deal with engineering and all sorts of things. In both areas, the biggest challenge was people and making sure that everyone was in alignment. Because what happens is that if you don't have people in alignment, they start to disagree. They don't start to get into a solution base and more of a finger-pointing situation, and that slows everything down, as well as build a toxic environment.
Right, yeah, toxic environment.
Right? You don't want that. So the most important thing is to make sure that everyone understands they're on the same page. And sometimes that may mean that I have to make a decision, and the team can't do it. But here's the thing. If I have to make a decision, the team typically respects my decision. There's this one guy, I think he's the UNC women's basketball coach for college basketball. And I learned this by watching him. And he basically said that, look, I have to make a decision sometimes. And maybe I have to side with player A, and player B will be mad. But then maybe sometimes I side with player B. But both of them understand that I'm making the best decision for the team, not for the player at the end of the day. It's like children.
Yeah.
Like when you have a child, like one's screaming like, oh, they stole this is mine. The other one's screaming, no, it was always mine. You're like, no, it was actually my daughter's, right? Not my son's. And at the end of the day, you're like, no, we got him this toy. But they don't understand at first. So once you get them acclimated, they realize that you have made the best decision for the family.
Right.
This team is basically a family.
Man, that's such a hard thing to relate to people, that making the choice is the best choice for the company and not have them maybe be offended by it.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to say that. But, over time, you build this trust. You make sure you understand the wants with each team member, and you build that relationship. If you do that, then they understand that I am not doing this because you're my favorite or something,
Right,
or
right.
like I have an initiative. I'm doing it because I believe this is the best thing for the team.
Like, I have faith in you,
I'm-
Patrick.
I'm trying to get this team to move forward. And here's something that a lot of people struggle with when they deal with leadership and management is conflict. You may hear this a lot, that people don't like conflict. I don't think of it that way. I think of it as being honest. You're being honest with them, and I may disagree with you,
Right.
or you may not like what exactly I have to say, but you know I'm being honest with you. And I have integrity when I do that.
Yeah.
I'm not beating around the bush.
It's interesting how difficult it is sometimes to be honest, and
It's
you're afraid to
you would
hurt
think it
someone's
wouldn't be hard, but honesty is really hard for people.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I've gone through that, my personal life as well as working here, where I struggle with it. So I'm not as bold as you, but I've been wanting to say things and then I kind of pull back myself and not be maybe as honest as I should have been. But in retrospect, that has caused more conflicts, down the road. Where if I had just been honest,
yeah,
it would've been-
there's like honesty. You got to be upfront, and people know you'll be honest.
right,
But don't be mean in your honesty. Some people take that as being mean.
right.
So you
Yeah.
got to know how to be honest with the person.
Just
And-
like ripping off a Band-Aid, right?
right, being an effective communicator. If I just tell you something and I know I'm right, I'm being honest, but I tell you in such an aggressive way, you're not going to listen to me or work with me.
That's true.
It doesn't work that way, right? You want to make sure that you're effective when you tell them this,
Yeah.
and be empathetic when you give the honesty, the feedback, and tell them what you actually think. Give them the reasons why you think this way, and
Yeah.
they can talk to you and have a conversation. Nothing's going to move forward unless you have that conversation,
Right.
and it's definitely not going to move forward if you can't be honest in that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That rings clear to me. um, you're, what do I want to say? You're clearly a great leader at this company. Do you think you've always been a great leader in your life? Starting off high school, college, and then here, or is this something that you've kind of cultivated through reading these books about various CEOs of companies?
So no, I haven't always been a great leader. In fact, I would say I was a poor leader when I started, and I just kind of went about the motions. And it's funny, I don't know what maybe clicked exactly, but I know one story I can tell you that kind of flipped a switch in my head is I remember we had some challenge with some product, and I was testing in the lab at the time. It was minor, but I wanted to try stuff, and I had a bunch of ideas, and I was waiting for my boss to kind of just give me the go-ahead. And I will give a shout-out to my current COO, Bill McDowell. He walked up to me.
Bill McDowell.
He walked up to me. I don't know if he remembers this or not. He walked up to me, and he listened to me. And he's like, don't wait for anyone. Just do it. If it works out, then you know it was right. And then you can show everyone that it's the right thing to do. And that kind of flipped the switch in my head to start saying, don't wait. If you want to do something, go do it. Go learn.
Yeah.
Go learn how to do it. And then once I started becoming a little bit more decisive, I started to find people came to me for questions. And I said, well, okay, I'm not too sure, but let's try this. I want to just try it. Let's not talk about it. Let's try it. And then from there, more people started looking for me and stuff. And I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to manage all this, because people are coming to me.
I was one of those people.
They're starting to look for me for things. I don't know how to get this going across. So I started to look at these leadership roles, leadership books. I remember Bill McDowell, shout him out again. He gave me 2 books immediately on how to be a leader, pretty much. One of them is The Prince, which is an interesting book, but it talks about what happens if you become the prince, like tomorrow.
I remember when he gave you that book.
Gave me that
came up to
book.
me, you're like, I have this book, The Prince, and I don't know what to do with this, but I'm going to read it.
And I read that book. It was very fascinating. So I won't go into details about that, but that's basically
right.
the story about it. So that's when I started to get that curiosity, is when he talked to me and gave me that mentality shift. And maybe he's been fostering me, I don't know, this whole time, but that kind of led me down the path of how do I become a better communicator? How do I become a better manager? How do I become a better leader?
So you received a lot of advice over your career. What's one or two pieces of advice that have stuck out to you that that you remember today that maybe you can pay forward to anybody that's listening to this podcast?
Whew, that's pretty hard to say. I would say the most recent one is that from my sensei, that's teacher in Japanese, that you need to be active. You have to be on the floor. You have to go see value at the place of action. So there's no way you can fix anything unless you go observe it. You can hear all these things in all the world, but unless you want to give real improvement and show how important something is, you go out there and do actually the observation, work with people, make it better.
And it's interesting you say that because I've observed Bill McDowell and Rob, both of them, patrolling the floor and doing exactly that. Even before we were visiting this sensei
Yes.
and lean team. So that's really interesting that they've been doing that for so long.
They're really invested. They want to make sure everything's better for everyone here at the company. The manufacturing plant is a big chunk of this company, and they want to make sure it's efficient. The workers have what they need, and they have what they have the confidence to say improvements or something's wrong here, and they bring it up so we can make it better.
Okay, so that's a really good piece of advice. Be observant and almost be present, right, on the production floor or any aspect of the company.
Yeah. Another piece of advice I would say is, you be honest with people and have integrity. You can be the smartest person, the most hardworking person, but if you don't have integrity, then that's a pretty big issue that people are going to not have trust in you.
Yeah.
They'll recognize you're smart. They'll recognize you're working real hard. But if they can't trust anything you're saying, you might as well just go home. There's no point. So,
and it's interesting because integrity is something that I think people pick up on instinctively. So for them to try and be tricky about it and not have integrity and cut all these corners, people pick up on that really quick. So.
Yeah, I stole that from Bob Iger, by the way. He said
Bob Iger.
3 traits that you look for when you hire someone is someone that's smart, hardworking, and has integrity. And he says if you don't have that last one, integrity, then that other 2 are going to kill you.
Yeah.
This is his actual quote. So
I think I would hire somebody. The first one, smart. I would kind of go for the second 2 before, hardworking and have integrity, and then hopefully you can teach somebody.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing for smart is curiosity.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Curiosity is more important than someone who's smart to me. If you are actually curious about something, you will go and figure out how that works, how it operates, how can I get it done. If you are smart and you're not curious, you may have a lot of knowledge, but then you're not going to try and expand your knowledge or learn any more. You're set.
Yeah.
This is the way it needs to be. This is the way it needs to happen. So I value curiosity more than someone that's smart, personally.
Curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So let me ask you this.
Okay. Ask away.
Yeah, ask away. What are some books or podcasts or maybe anything else that, if someone's watching this and they're like, I want to be like Patrick and have this great leadership role, what are some things that you recommend to them to foster their leadership roles?
So there's a lot of different books. Some really good ones that you could try is the How to Be a Great Boss, The Motive, and Good to Great. Those are books that you can try. I learned a lot from actually watching videos and listening to maybe audio sessions of other people. Like I listened to videos from Bob Iger, Howard Schultz, Mark Cuban.
Okay.
Who else? Richard Brand, to see how they do their leadership. How did they run their companies? How did they inspire people? How did they build a great team?
Yeah.
Very fascinating. That one coach, Gino Aruma, whatever, he's from the UNC women's basketball team. His thing was that he had someone that was so good as a secondary. He left for a month and everything got even better.
Really?
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. He doesn't worry when he goes on vacation.
It's interesting you say that because in my leadership role in the flow meter department, I was so afraid to leave for a day that I ended up racking up, almost maxing out my vacation time because I did not want to take a day off. And finally, I don't know if it was you or someone else, they finally said, just try it, man. See, you have to trust your people.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and it worked. And I was surprised, but I was also thankful for my team to kind of hold the department down while I was gone. So
I'm sure they struggled a little bit without you, but you can't help them get to that next step unless you allow them the opportunity to fail.
Right.
The greatest learning experience anyone can have is when they fail. And that's another big thing that a lot of people fail at, I guess, is that they punish people for failing or even trying something different. And that stifles creativity and innovation as well as culture. So the fact that you left and gave your team that opportunity means that you trusted them enough, integrity, right? So trusted them enough to give them the opportunity to try and fail. And even if they fail at something, you would come back and show them the right way to do it.
Right. Exactly what happened. Yeah, it was almost a relief when I went on vacation for the first time. And this is so silly to even say this out loud, but I went on vacation. I came back the next day, and everything like was fine. The building was still standing. Nothing caught on fire. And so from then on, I cultivated my second in command, like you were just talking about, to the point where I could take a week off at a time and not really worry about the department.
Great.
So
That's what's good.
Yeah.
You taking vacations now, or?
Well, now, yeah. Yeah, now I don't have that issue.
Yeah, fantastic.
When you're not at work, what are some interests or hobbies that you have? Maybe you want to share with the people that maybe they don't know you.
So I have two pretty big interests. One of them is pretty easy. I do daily. I'm a gamer. I'm a video gamer. I love video games. So I have all sorts of things. There's PC gaming, a Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so my wife plays too. So we'll play video games together. It's kind of the way we do some activities together. We'll watch TV shows and we'll video game together. Something that I always love to do, and I wish I could do it more often, is travel. I love to go traveling to places and seeing how other people live. Going to Europe. How does the normal person live in Europe? What is their day like? How do they get through it? I love Japan. Go to Japan. How does the Japan people, the Japanese, how do they go through their life? How is their normal life? What do they do for their fun and activities? And just experiencing different cultures and going through that. It's a little like weird at first because it's a culture shock.
Yep.
But, everywhere I go, people are generally friendly. They're nice. They're willing to help you, point you out to places, talk to you. I have so many stories of my travels. I don't want to get into it, but I have so many random stories of people just doing funny things with me there.
Yeah. Traveling is really cool. I recently went to Germany and Italy. I think it was a year ago. And yeah, it was kind of a culture shock, but just seeing people, and I'm like, this is a whole nother world you guys are living in that I have no idea about. It's
awesome.
really fascinating. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love Italy. I was there several years ago. It's a great place. Great place.
I want to go back. And it's interesting you say that because now you're kind of observing people in their countries, as well as observing leaders in their leadership teams. So it's kind of what's the word that?
It's connecting the dots almost
Connecting
a little
the
bit.
dots. There you go. Yeah.
So.
Well, Patrick, I just want to say thank you for making time. I know you're one of the busiest people in this company. We have a lot of history together, making videos, some of them that didn't get aired.
I remember a couple of stories of us sitting down back when you used to be the lead of the flow meter department. Now you're our videographer, our media creator. So you have so many jobs that you've gone through. You've seen the company evolve.
Yeah.
And I remember us having chats in the night, just talking about what initiatives should we do? How should we move forward?
Yeah.
How would you want to see things progress? It's crazy for me to think of where we were and how we got to where we are today. It still blows my mind right now.
I remember those talks, you and I at night, where I was, I don't want to say at the end of my rope, but I didn't really see a path forward for me at this company as a leader of the department that I was working in. I saw it was kind of just a dead end, and I didn't really see myself going anywhere. So those talks where you would come over and kind of do like a mental check-in with me, I really appreciate you doing that because I really needed that at the time. Because every day I would come in and racking my brain, where am I going to be in like 5 to 10 years? Am I still going to be at this company? I'm so fed up not progressing because, I want to progress. I think everybody else, they want to move up the ladder. They want to progress in their role. They want to mature. And to be kind of stuck at this dead end position, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So,
I could see without, it's the same thing that I was kind of mentioning earlier, that if you don't have a clear vision, right, at the time, it can be frustrating, right? You don't understand what is the plan here. I'm just living day by day doing the same thing, and you want to see progress.
right.
It can really put you in a bad mindset, but
Yeah.
look at you now.
Look at me now,
Look at you
fumbling
now.
on the camera. So we've made a few videos together. What's one video that kind of stood out to you that was kind of your favorite? I have a couple that in my back pocket that I love.
Ones that have been published. So,
Maybe I could show a quick clip of that, the one that did not get published. But the Halloween video that we did a couple years ago, it might have been 5. I don't know how long it's been, but man, you really brought the Academy word out, and a lot of people still
really?
they compliment you on your kind of lean in and.
Oh, yeah. I think that was improv. I don't remember planning that.
I don't remember either. But what are some of the videos? Because we've done a few together. We've done the live stream events. We've done the Halloween video, the CD one that never got published, but maybe I'll publish it one day. What's one that kind of stood out to you?
Gosh, there's so many videos. I think the one that threw me for a loop was when we did the live stream event, because that one was when we started talking about a lot of big new products and trying to tell people why they're so good, why they're so important in a concise manner. I remember we were talking together and I was trying to practice, like, what would I say? How do I make this important to people? I could talk to you about all the technical things about this product and no one will really care. So,
But a small group of people, yeah.
Why is it important for people for the things that we did for the customer?
Yeah.
Why does it help them?
Yeah. And that's, I forget the guy's name, but that's the one-liner, Donald Miller. Rob and I and Taylor watched the video of his class, kind of addressing that. You know, you address the problem, and this is the formula for almost all the videos that we make, we make. The first sentence kind of addresses the problem for the customer that's using our product, and they relate to that. And then the second sentence would be our solution or our service that we provide to answer that solution.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Being an effective communicator, it's really trying to figure all that out.
Man,
So-
communicating so hard.
It's so hard.
That was the
As proof of this podcast. So,
I'm never gonna publish this. That was the M3 live event, right? Or was it the M5?
the M3 was the first shaker for me because that was like the first time we did a live event.
You know, and that shout out to Rob, because I went up to him and I said, "Hey, man, hey, sir,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I have an idea, and let's try this." And almost without batting an eye, he's like, "All right, yeah, man, let's try it."
That's the type of guy he is.
And man, that was one of the biggest undertakings I've ever had here. I'm gonna put the link in the description of this video below if you guys want to watch it. Don't watch it, but
You
it's
should
really-
watch it. You should definitely watch it.
I'm looking forward to redeem myself with our third one if when it comes up or if it comes up. So yeah, that was a big undertaking. So
It was fun. It was fun.
it was really fun.
Nervous at first, but it was fun.
It was fun and really hectic for a couple months because I had to shoot these segments with everybody in the video. And
I realized one of our engineers had a late night talk show host voice
oh right,
during that time. I didn't actually recognize it until then. So that was funny at an interesting time.
He reached out to me. He wants to be on the podcast, so I think we're gonna maybe
Oh.
have him on and talk about software.
Oh, okay. Is it going to be a late night one or? Is
So I might have to move the mic away from him. Shout out to you. Cool. Well, listen, Patrick, thank you for sitting down with me. I'm sure you got another meeting right after this lined up.
I'm walking right out of here to another one, but it's okay. I had
Good.
fun. Hopefully, I get invited back and I don't get kicked off the show forever. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So-
And listen, I want to have you on here more because this was kind of just an introductory to you and your sort of arch in this company. It's not over. I know you still got maybe a couple more avenues to go up. So I want to have you on here again, and maybe we can kind of hyper focus on lean manufacturing or any other aspect in the company that.
yeah, you may need like a couple of hours for that one for me
Yeah.
to sit here and talk to you.
I got all the time in the world for you, Patrick. Yeah. Thank you for watching this episode of the Inside Blue Eye podcast. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, Patrick, for being on.
Thank you, Daniel. It was a pleasure.